can't seem to get going this afternoon. Been out for the morning bike ride, the Tuesday morning bike ride with the old men riding badly on bikes along the River Wandle. So it's a lovely day for the first day of winter, 1st of December, I believe that's what it is. I had to have sooner or later, but lovely. The temperature is about 11, 13 degrees. The sun's out, lovely sky going over. So what to paint? Well, I've been down the River Wandle this morning, but I don't fancy doing that at the moment. I still like my distance, and by trying to create the warm and the cool and the mist. So I'll just make a start. I'll probably use the sable, but I'm going to use the hake to do the bulk of the background and the wetting of the paper. Just a general wet all over. The paper will stretch. It's Fabriano, but it will stretch definitely, and I'll just reclip it. Okay. So, I've kept it a bit damp in the Ziploc bag. Very, very handy. Thanks, Maria. I've got lemon yellow, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, lights red, ultramarine, burnt umber, Payne's grey, and burnt sienna. Right, I'll give a tint of the usual, just a tint of sienna. Looking at Terry Preen's work on Facebook today. What a lovely painter he is. Does a lot of houses. I sort of level that. Well, I don't really do houses. I'm a tree and sky man really, and reflections. But he stood in Victoria Street in London, one of the busiest parts of London, and did an oil painting. Well, all credit to him. Right, I'll put a bit of a grey sky, because I'm not going to paint what's there today. Just mixing alizarin crimson, light red, alizarin crimson, bit of Payne's grey, bit of blue, just to give a nice sort of sky, just for me mist. And just as we're coming down the page, just okay. Right, now with my background, with those colours, I'll go blue, and I'll try to keep the background blue, but I want fairly low, well, sort of middle-ish, just below the middle. Let's just go down. Just a gentle background. The hills rather than mountains or anything there. I'm very fond of Essex coast round Brightling Sea, Ivanhoe, and my brother-in-law lives. They're very lovely. And one of our nieces. So let's try and get my horizon fairly horizontal. I didn't draw it in, I just went straight in, and let's just bring in some bit of reflection. That's sort of a misty effect. My board is about 20 degrees, so that the reflections will run down to a certain extent. Keep it a bit wet, and I'm just going to use blue and red in that, but thick. Sort of not tube consistency, but as close to it. I just want to keep this all blue in here. I'm really just imagining what it's like looking across the River Colne in the Brightling Sea, not Brightling Sea, in the Blackwater Estuary, going towards Colchester. And you've got quarries in here. But because I'm painting this in misty, we're not going to see much of the quarry colours. Just repeat that in the shadows, in the reflections. Still water, tide, completely in or out, but well, it doesn't really exist. I'm just making this up, but based on a memory. Okay. Right. I will put in a bit of sienna in along the beach, which I've left white, just to show, and a bit of burnt umber, just a nod to a bit of warm colour there. Oops, just gone into the water. Okay. I'll just reclip the paper. I'll go the other way, I think, because I was a bit too close to the other side. Right, let's get that over here and stretch tight there. Up there. There's no need to shrink your paper, or stretch paper, whatever you like to call it. You wet it. When it expands, you then stick it to a board with some parcel tape, the brown stuff, and then let it dry. And as the gum strip dries on the edge of the paper dries and shrinks back, it stretches it as tight as a drum. And the idea being that when you paint on it with wet, it doesn't buckle, or croggle as we say. Right, okay, now I think we can go in with a bit more dark blue now, and red, just a thicker mix of those same colours. Right, just some of that. And I'm going to put some sort of sand dune, which would not be right for this area really. Oh, hello Harry. Harry's just jumped on my chair, he's been a bit of a pain today. He already put his claws in my ankles through my jeans. There, Harry. King Harry. That's the kitten, by the way. What is? No, get off my back. He's climbing up my back. He wants to sit on my shoulder now. Not conducive to painting. Ah! Don't bite me. Get off. Go on, get off. Off. Oh, devil. He's getting quite grown, but I have to discipline him now because he's starting to do damage to my person. Doesn't mean to, but there. So that's a sort of a reasonable background. Let's just straighten it up a little bit. It's the sort of thing I used to do years ago before I got back into the oils for 15 years. But I don't do many oils now because the solvents don't agree with me, with my chest. Let's just alter the shapes of some of that there. Right, okay. That will do there. Right, now we're going to put in some nice warm stuff in there, so let's well, we'll put a bit of umber along here. A bit of sienna. I know it's all been done before, but hey, let's go for it. I'll put some grassy stuff in there as well. Bit of grey in there. Try and keep some lights for some water in the channels, in the mud. I'll just go a bit more, more beachy there, just a bit more open. Ron Ransom was very good at this sort of thing. Well, he still is, because he's still going. Right, bit of red in there, bit of red. Let's see what happens there. Let's move me brush up. Right, some yellow with that mix. I don't use ready-made greens with the watercolours mostly. I have got some greens, but I don't really use them. The thing is, keep things simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Because the more colours you have, the more confusion arises. Because you've got so many colours, you tend to try to shortcut everything and end up with a sort of a very muddy painting, my experience. Better to have a few colours and learn to use them with all your mixes. There are sort of times when you do need other colours, like if you're doing flower paintings. I'm really talking about landscapes here. Right, it's just a good bit of darker green in there, so a bit of sienna, bit of that, bit of yellow, bit of grey, and just some shadows in here, harder. Okay, let's just go a bit further out with some of this in there. Okay, so we've got a basis for a picture. It's a bit symmetrical at the moment, but I'm going to add some bushes and things. But I want to get that dried now, so hold your ears. Might be tempting fate a bit. I'll just get the palette off. I'm going to use a large sable and just try to show some sparkle in this middle distance here, that hopefully will translate in our heads as some mud just showing through. I just use a bit of burnt umber mixed with a bit of grey, but quite light. But I'm going to use my number 14 sable for that. See what happens. Right, number 14 sable, give it a wet. Not too wet, there's a bit of that sort of colour. Right, plenty of water. just coming down into the shore here. Right, okay, let that dry a little bit, and I'll start to put a bit of texture in here now. But they'll be essentially green, so I'll use Payne's Grey, burnt sienna. I do love burnt sienna. It's a very dark red, but I want this thick. Quite dark sort of green here. That's try to preserve me light. I don't want to do too much here. Just start to texture. Quite a bit of water in the mix because the rigger doesn't hold that much. I like doing all this sort of texturing, trying to give an impression of a lot of detail without actually painting it. I'm just using the edge of the rigger, just put in this nice texture. You can scrape out with your fingernail, of course, or your plastic card. Yeah, just building it up. See, very little detail in the distance. But I'll put some boats and things in there, but I've got a little bit more in there. Let's just could do that with the dry brush again over the top of that. A bit of dark, bits of mud. Bits of seaweedy stuff in here. Okay, just to create a bit of an impression. There's something sticking up through the water as the tide comes in or goes out. Right, now some bit of tree stuff now. So I'll use the larger. I could use the hake, but I want to start using my sables a bit more. So bit of burnt umber, a bit of sienna. Nice and warm colours, a bit of dark in there. I've done this several times before. It's just fun to do, really. Just breaking into the water a little bit, maybe. Lovely brush this is. It's a number 8. It's like a sort of a floodplain, but it is imaginary. And that dries, I'll just go over with a bit of dark. Right, a bit more in here. Get this side of things. Right, some foliage in down here, I think. like a sort of a hedgy. Oops, a bit thin. I do like using these paints as if they were out of the tube. Using the edge of the brush, look how lots of that lovely lemon yellow is. So if I'm masking, I can't see what I'm doing. It's shining in the sunlight. Right, a bit dark in there. That is really thick paint there now. It needs to be dark just so that it obliterates what's underneath. Right, getting with the dark over in here now, bit of shadow. It's a rich dark brown, sienna, umber, Payne's grey, blue yellow. Right, maybe that needs to come up just a little bit. Let's change the shape of that a little bit. I don't know. Looks nice as it is, really. Right, we need to put in some detail in the middle, in the distance now. There will be boats the other side of the estuary, but I want to put in a little bit of dark branches, trunks and things. This was the actual Colne River. There wouldn't be this. It would be nearer. What you've got is a lot of mud flats and a dike on which you can walk between Brightlingsea or Alresford Creek and Wivenhoe. But I'm just having fun with the painting, really, just texturing and foregrounds and trying to show warm against cool distance. Right, okay, now some boats. I'll use a small worn out brush. I want a bit of white gouache, new white gouache, which I'll squeeze out on my big gouache type palette. So I want it to stay fairly thick but fresh paint out of the tube. So just dilute it a little bit. And we'll just put some of these in. Coming to a point there, Right, just sort of balancing the other side. Okay, that'll do. Just a calm sort of scene. Let's put in some little holes of those. Blue. Then actually a lot of those would be white, wouldn't they? White hole boats. But I'm only just going to just indicate them, so let's put that there. Okay. Put a bit of blue on one or two of those now. But only sort of faint into it. Just some boats at anchor there. Middle of the channel. Just sort of stuff really. Okay, we'll put some bits of mast on there. Just some nothing really. I've got a razor strap. Some over here. Okay, not much more I want to do with that. Well, I didn't know what to paint, so this is what we've got. Let's sign it. It's a bit of nothing really, but I think there's enough in it of interest to some of you. I will put a couple of little birds in, some Riverno crows. That'll do. Well, let's go a bit higher for one, just to put a bit of detail up here. Right, we'll put it in a mount and just have a quick look, see what it looks like. Put it in the ivory mount. Oh, just a clean little picture. Nothing too exciting, but and Essex estuary. Right, let's bring the camera down a bit and see if we can go down and have a look at that. Oops. So let's go down round to the horizon. So I've created the depth by using blue, various intensities of blue, and a little bit of warm sienna on the shoreline over that side of the river. And I just put in these scrubby, bushy type trees here and there. As a contrast, see, we've got cool and warm colours now. So we've got aerial recession. Maybe there's not a lot of actual interest in the painting other than the depth of it, which is what I tried to do. So I hope you enjoyed some of that. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.